Hello there. So, if you've watched my channel much at all, you've probably heard me many times refer to my wife as my bride, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. Where it came from and really what it means to me, uh, as a lawnmower thought, I guess. Uh, but many years ago, when I was about 19, 20 years old, I was in the Army and I worked for Tommy R. Franks. He was a colonel promotable at the time. Actually, I started working for him when he was just a colonel, but then he became promotable. And his wife was Kathy Franks. She was a school teacher, and Colonel Franks and I got along well. And he would refer to his wife as his bride. I'd heard him probably three or four, maybe multiple occasions. I heard him refer to her as bride. I remember one day, uh, just to let you know, I guess maybe how much trust he had in me. I don't know. He had a 1972 Corvette Stingray. It was red and it had a phone in it. And this was back in 1989, 88, 89. So I mean, that was something to have a phone in a car. But anyway, we were at probably a change of command ceremony or something at division headquarters, and Miss Kathy had came to that change of command, and so she drove her car after school, and then so we were standing out there after the change of command ceremony, and they were talking, and then Colonel Franks turned to me, and he reached in his pocket and he pulled out the keys to that Corvette and he pitched them to me and said, "Hey, Biff," he said, "bring the car by the house." And I'm like, "Wow, really?" Well, he said he was going to ride home with his bride, but I was like, "Really? Wow, I'm like 19 years old, and you're going to let me drive your car by myself?" So I did. I got one of my friends to follow me over there, and I was driving just like 35 miles an hour, like an old person in that car, afraid to scratch it at all. But anyway, sidebar story. But that's really what I've always remembered that Colonel Franks called Miss Kathy his bride, referred to her as his bride, and so I do that too. And why do I do that? Well, we've been married over half of my life, and well, half hers too, and uh, usually when you think about getting married, the young couple are in that I'm in love head over heels kind of phase there, up to getting married, and about a year after they call it a honeymoon and all that. Uh, and I tell you, uh, when you go to get married, she's the bride, he's the groom, and so you'll hear them introduce each other as their bride and groom, and so uh, I feel like that today, 30 something years later. That yearning for Rochelle, the partnership that we have, uh, and so she is my bride. I would marry her again today. Walk down the aisle, or actually maybe get on my knees again and ask her for her hand. But anyway, so that leads me to a little bit of a broader topic, which is marriage in general, and probably how this made it to the lawnmower thoughts, because I'm not mowing the grass right now because it's sort of in the wintertime. But uh, I did hear a former first lady uh, recently, one of those little things that comes by, scrolls by, or whatever, and she was talking about how hard being married is. I think she said marriage is hard, and then she started talking about some things that her husband does that gets on her nerves. And I got to thinking about that, and I don't believe marriage is hard. I can see how some people think marriage is hard, but let me explain where I'm going here. Uh, my bride and I are in a Christian covenantal marriage. So we are married before God, and we have a covenant between each other and with God for that marriage. Uh, it just so happens, it just so happens that that marriage is also recognized by society. And so we also have this societal, I guess, the business end of the marriage, the partnership, the ownership kind of, ownership of property and all those business rights that comes with marriage. Tell you the truth, I don't really care about that. What I care about is the covenantal Christian relationship that we have, just as Christ is the groom for his church, and I'm a part of that church. My bride and I have a covenant with each other, and so we honor each other and we love each other, and we have, our love has grown deeper. As you get to know Christ, you get to love him more because it's just a deeper love than that surface, exuberance that you have, when you're first saved and you realize that you've come to that saving grace. Um, but I can see how some people who do not have that Christian covenantal marriage would have what I would call, a business relationship marriage. It's the secular. They're married for that partnership capability that now they're partners for life or whatever, rather than the higher uh, uh, spiritual kind of thing. So yes, I can see how someone like that, because you really got to think, you got to be pretty selfish to think that it's hard for marriage. Actually, if you're selfless in a Christian marriage, it will be easy because you're thinking about that other person. You're thinking about how I can serve them, just how I can take care of them. And I mean, I can tell you, we have things, but we love each other through them, right? Uh, my bride loads the dishwasher like a rabid squirrel. Just things all over the place. Uh, that doesn't really bother me. I mean, I'll say, sort of joke around with her every once in a while, I'll say something, but I just drive on and fix it, right? And she puts up with things that I do. I mean, I get really anxious and grumpy, uh, and she puts up with that. So anyway, and that's that stronger. We're stronger together. So yeah, I can see how secular folks uh, and selfish people that are just thinking about themselves, what they get out of a relationship, and I can see how they could say that marriage is hard. But if you're in that covenantal Christian marriage, it's easy and it's one of the most blessed things we have. So just have that partner for life that sees the world as you do, uh, and really, uh, if you look at the prioritization, you've got God, and then for me, my bride, my family, and then my country as a broader aspect of it. But anyway. So, a little bit about marriage and my thoughts on it, and I guess sort of in response to, former First Lady saying marriage is hard. Yeah, I can see where her marriage may be hard if she isn't in a covenantal Christian marriage. But thanks for putting up with me. Uh, you know, uh, I guess I would say that loving my bride as Christ loved the church, that's what works for me. And that's not even mostly. Thank you much.